born in a rich family. A man's snobbish behaviors are challenged when he is transported back in time as an enslaved stableman. Grisha's wealth, status, and charisma allow him to impress and intimidate people effortlessly. In a bar one night, he gets a drink with a random woman and invites her to his car. Refusing to comply with his sensual request, Grisha sends the woman out of his prestigious vehicle. As he speeds on a highway, Grisha ignores the police officers chasing him. Believing his money will deter anyone, he fails to bribe the officer. The cop prevents him from driving away, but the reckless driver turns a blind eye and quickly drives, inflicting physical injury on the officer. Upon getting arrested, Grisha's father, Pavel, always pays the compensations to settle his son's cases. Overburdened by his son's constant humiliation of his name, Pavel seeks to release stress with his TV producer friend Nastya. Following their stress-relieving business, Nastya recommends a psychologist with unconventional methods who can help him with his son's problem. On their way to the psychologist, Nastya explains that she knew this man from a horror film they worked on together. Entering the psychologist's place, they are welcomed by Lev. Then, Nastya orients Lev on Pavel's serious problem regarding his out-of-control son. Displaying some of his unorthodox techniques, such as chopping off his mock-up fingers, Lev asks Pavel whether he's prepared to go to whatever extent to solve his problem. Skeptical, Pavel rushes out of the room without hearing the plan. Later that night, Grisha goes out of the bar, discovering his car being taken by a tow truck. He rushes towards the truck, but someone suddenly shoots him, knocking him unconscious. Waking up dressed as a stableman, Grisha can't think clearly, suspecting that he may either be too drunk or that someone has stolen his belongings. A fellow stableman, Proshka, warns him that someone named Avdej is looking for him. Before convincing him to hide, Avdej emerges and kicks Grisha out for failing to saddle the horses as he's instructed to. Moments later, Alexei, the landowner's son, appears riding a horse and gives Avdej his whip, stating that Grisha must be torn to shreds. Fortunately, the landowner, Master Dmitri, steps in and claims that he should be the one to decide who gets whipped. Still trying to understand what's happening, Grisha believes this is merely a weird celebration by the wealthy. However, he is proven otherwise when the landlord orders Avdej to lash him for failing to explain where his horse is. Following that, Proshka instructs Grisha to obey the landlord and do what he's told. Not believing this to be true, Grisha rushes out to find a phone to call his father for help. Unfamiliar with the place, he dives into a river only to be caught in a fishnet. The village cook, Lyub, provides Grisha with clothing, but the man complains about everything in this century he's stuck in. Moments later, they hear Avdej's voice from a distance, still searching for his horse. Grisha attempts to run but is unluckily caught again by the whip. Grisha thinks this is simply a nightmare he'll awaken from as he's about to be executed for violating their strict rule for runaway peasants. While the rope surrounds his neck, the landlord's daughter, Aglaya, commands Avdej to stop the hanging. However, Avdej argues that it is her father's order he can't defy. Even her brother, Alexei, evilly dismisses his sister's request to cease hanging the villagers. For the sake of her birthday, Aglaya begs her father to halt the killings, which Master Dmitri gladly submits to. Saving his friend's life, Proshka expresses his sincere gratitude to the lady. In contrast, Grisha remains perplexed and unable to articulate himself. When the lady departs, Proshka spots a bird flying overhead and refers to it as the bird of death. The bird flies into a cabin where a man awaits to catch it, exposing it to be merely a drone dressed as a bird. Proceeding down the stairs, the cabin is revealed to be nothing but a made-up production set by Nastya, Lev, and Pavel. With his fear of horses, Grisha processes how he gets transported in time and transformed into a stableman. During his break from the scene, Anton, the paid actor portraying Alexei, intimately invites his horse trainer girlfriend Lisa to join him in the forest. Unknown to them, the producers inside overhear their flirtations through the microphone taped to the actor. Unintentionally, the scriptwriter hands a script to Lisa, who declines, claiming that she doesn't need one because she isn't an actress and is only in charge of the horses. After rewinding everything on his mind, Grisha eventually thinks he might be dead and is now in hell. Proshka interrupts his daydreams and advises him to continue with his work. Like in the movies, Grisha asserts that he may have been transported back in time after being hit by a car. Not thinking carefully, Proshka inquires what film he is referring to. Hearing this, Proshka realizes that what he has said can be a plot hole because there are no movies yet in this period. Frightened that he will begin to be questioned, the actor calms when Grisha only declares that Proshka wouldn't know what he's referring to because he's talking about colored films. The next day, Grisha wakes up, grumbling about how uncomfortable it is to sleep on the ground. As the day goes on, he's gradually blending in the village, working on horse horses and eating grim meals. At night, Grisha remarks that he's becoming used to the place, yet he still misses something. Proshka assumes his friend misses a woman. However, Grisha only misses the internet. In the following days, Pavel is agitated to see progress from his son. By the next scene, Lev guarantees that the father will finally see some character growth he seeks from him. On the field, Grisha finds Aglaya crying about her father's abrupt decision to arrange her marriage to a wealthy older man. To comfort the lady, Grisha advises her to be joyful because it simply implies that the man she'll marry will die soon enough. Later that day, Grisha shows Proshka the chicken he stole from the landlord. Despite his friend's caution, Grisha continues to make chicken soup and consumes every bit of it. Consequently, when Avde discovers that the landlord's chicken is missing, Grisha refuses to confess, causing his friend to receive the punishment. Observing that nothing has changed with his son, Pavel demands Lev to act more decisively. For Grisha to change, the psychologist contends that someone must die because of his actions. Upon hearing this, Nastya interjects, asking Lev why he constantly associates everything with death and violence. Caught off guard by her sudden outbursts, Pavel becomes even more surprised when Lev confesses that he and Nastya were previously married. Meanwhile, Proshka shows Grisha his fabricated bruises, expecting the man to exhibit some empathy, which he still lacks. After Nastya reprimands her employees for their shortcomings, Pavel confronts her for not telling him her real history with Lev. The woman responds that there's no reason to discuss it since her relationship with Pavel is solely for relieving stress. Citing Lisa climbing off her horse, Grisha notices her modern-styled underwear. He hurries over to the lady, asking where she acquired her undergarment. Without thinking, he grabs the woman's skirt, revealing that she is no longer wearing it. Lisa immediately runs away with her horse, leaving her underwear beneath the grass. For days without any changes, Pavel displays his dissatisfaction towards everyone. He instantly calms down when a staff member shows them that his son is now searching for Lisa to apologize. Sincerely regretting his conduct towards Lisa, Grisha apologizes, and the woman holds no grudges and forgives him. During sunset, Lisa talks to Lev and asks him how he knew Grisha would apologize to her. Lev explains that he doesn't know and he only believes. On the night of Ivan Kupala, a traditional holiday, Grisha's friends explain that whoever he spends the night with will be with him for the rest of his life. When the celebration starts, Grisha teaches the people to dance along to a modern beat. Aglaya grabs his attention and urges them to have fun before she drowns herself in the lake. Later that night, Aglaya prepares for her most anticipated scene with Grisha on the lake. On the other hand, the man she is waiting for enjoys the night with Lisa, narrating his life in the modern world. Despite Proshka's efforts to entice Grisha to meet with Aglaya on the lake, Grisha is too preoccupied with telling stories to Lisa. Seeing Proshka gesturing something to her, Lisa shifts the subject of their conversation and yells at Proshka whether he has already found Aglaya. Proshka responds that he still hasn't seen her, worrying that she must have gone to the lake and something horrible might happen. Recalling Aglaya's threat to drown herself, Grisha immediately rushes for her. Seeing that the man is coming, the producer directs Aglaya to pretend to be drowning. Then, Grisha saves the woman, and Aglaya refuses to be escorted back home, so the man carries her into an abandoned carriage. The woman fails to attract the man to sleep with her, despite her seductive advances. Instead, Grisha returns to the celebration, looking for Lisa. Discovering that Lisa is no longer at the party, he heads down to her place to find her. Following Grisha, the producers alert Lisa and the rest of the actors that the man is coming for her. While Lisa changes her costume, the actors in the room instantly hide. Upon opening the door, Grisha invites her for a walk. Lisa refuses, citing the constant cuffing of her intoxicated partner wrapped in a blanket as an excuse, claiming him to be her sick father. As a result of the events from the previous night, Lev notifies Lisa of the alterations in their storyline. After capturing Grisha's eyes, Lisa is now the most important person in the man's life. For these reasons, Lisa eventually accepts to play a crucial role in Grisha's character development arc. In the fictitious world, Avdi delivers the landlord's drunken son, who trampled on a constable last night. The landlord assigns Proshka and Grisha to saddle the horse because he's going to the city to handle the problem his son has caused. While Proshka exclaims that he is ashamed of Alexei's conduct, Grisha envies him for having a good time. After observing Lev and Nastya laughing, Pavel approaches the psychologist, informing him that if he and Nastya start rekindling their relationship, he deserves to know at least. Lev explains that Nastya's recent actions, including seeking help from her estranged ex, are enough to prove how much she loves Pavel. Returning from the city, the landlord proposes that Grisha disguise himself as his son and take the blame and punishment for Alexei's misconduct in exchange for his freedom. Accepting the punishment, Grisha is whipped twice a dozen times. Meanwhile, his father storms out of the cabin, unable to bear watching his son's misery. Days later, Grisha returns to the landlord's mansion to obtain the documents for his freedom as promised. Instead of finding the landlord, Grisha discovers Alexei inside his father's office. Asking whether the son can give the documents, Alexei concurs and invites Grisha to sit, only to stomp the chair, causing the stableman to fall. Furious, Alexei claims that he won't let Grisha escape enslavement despite their agreement. Prepared to hit the man, Grisha holds his temper and rather chooses to leave the mansion. Over time, as Grisha and Liza grow closer, she teaches him how to handle horses, he helps her fetch water, and they even go boating together. Strolling across the hill, Grisha notices the drone bird malfunctioning. With no transmitter on her, Liza can't hear any instructions from the producers on what to do. So she manages to divert Grisha's eyes by claiming that she has considered the bird her guardian angel since she was a kid. In contrast to Proksha's claim that it is the bird of death. Tired of waiting inside the mansion, Polina, the actress playing Aglaya, claims that Liza purposefully seduces Grisha to land a role. She also warns Anton that his girlfriend will soon choose Grisha over him. Claiming that Polina is only upset because she never had her moment with Grisha, the two actors exchange intimate glances, both missing their pleasures. While walking on the road, Grisha and Liza notice the abandoned carriage wobbling. Opening to check on it, they find Anton and Polina having an intimate moment inside. Seeing her boyfriend, Liza immediately leaves. Learning about this news, Lev fires the two actors for their unprofessional behavior. 2 days later, Grisha opens his own fine dining restaurant, catering exclusively to Liza. Observing the woman's sadness for days, this is the only thing Grisha can think of to appease the woman. Under the night sky, Liza acknowledges Grisha's actions. Narrating how he recognized himself from Alexei's terrible behaviors, Grisha concludes that the reason why he's transported to this period may be to watch himself from a different perspective. With this realization, Liza gladly kisses the man while the people behind this plan are ecstatic as well, witnessing this change in Grisha's attitude. Meanwhile, the terminated actress appears on a television show discussing that Grisha is being tortured by making him believe he is locked in the past. Polina claims that the experiments leading the man insane include beating, forcing her to make love with him, and feeding him with the pigs. Now that the authority is investigating this, Pavel wishes to complete their project sooner. Believing that it is not the time yet, Lev reasons that despite Grisha's realization, knowing without doing is still meaningless. Due to a lack of time to carry out their previous plan, they must start with a new method involving a final battle with an opposing force for Grisha to perform a heroic act. While Liza and Grisha are having a heartfelt conversation, Proshka alerts them that the invaders have arrived, requiring everyone to be present or they will burn the village. In search for the most beautiful woman to be his wife, the father of the woman the invaders' leader has chosen attempts to save her. The leader offers to return his daughter on the condition that he fights their best fighter. So the father and invader battle one-on-one. With the defeated father, Grisha is terrified as the best fighter reveals the prosthetic head of the challenger. Now that the father exchanged his life for his daughter, the invaders release the woman as promised to her father's bravery. However, they have to look for another bride. When the leader picks Liza, they ask whether the lady has some protector to save her. Everyone looks at Grisha, who still doesn't know what to do, leaving the disappointed Liza at the hands of the acting invaders. Assuming it is the end of their scheme, everyone is joyful as Grisha returns riding a horse to save his beloved woman. The lovers run away at the same time as the cops arrive, looking for the person in charge of this production. Explaining that they are making a wedding film for Pavel and Nastya, the cops shyly leave. Meanwhile, the happy couple riding the horse eventually reaches the highway, discovering a modern gas station. Liza's attempt to explain to Grisha halts when he collapses on the ground after a sniper shoots him to sleep. When Grisha awakens, his father informs him that he has been in a coma for 3 months. The changed man surrounds himself with grief, spending his days going to clubs and driving around the city. One night in the club, he comes across Polina and Anton. Confronting the two, Grisha apologizes when they reason that they don't know what he's talking about. Feeling sorry for him, the two decide to bring him to Liza's real workplace the following day. Seeing Liza at the horse training facility, the lovers passionately kiss, implying how much they miss each other. They later meet with Pavel, who is now doing a post-wedding photo shoot with his wife Nastya. After apologizing and thanking his father for everything, the two couples pose for a photo together as a family. Back at their made-up historical period production, another son of a rich man is now trapped, blabbering about his societal power. To help change and improve the man's conduct, Grisha joins the production, playing the role of the new executioner.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.